Hi, 7th graders. Today we are going to continue talking about angle relationships, and we're going to do this with some word problems. So we're going to take everything that we know about complementary and supplementary angles and use that to help us with these word problems. And I'm going to start with an example of supplementary angles that will be in this first video, and then in the next video we are going to do an example with complementary angles. So if we read this word problem, there are two angles and these are supplementary. So I'm going to underline that keyword supplementary, and remember that supplementary angles have a sum of 180 degrees. They make that straight line. One angle measures 30 degrees more than twice the measure of the other angle. So 30 degrees more than twice the angle, twice the measure of the other angle. What are the measures of the two angles? So to start off, I think that it's best if we take all of this information and put it into a visual representation. I'm going to draw a picture of these supplementary angles so that I can visualize what this means, and that will hopefully help us. So supplementary, again, I'm going to draw a straight line because the angles are supplementary. They add up to this 180 degree angle. And I really, right now, have no idea what the measures of the angles are. So it doesn't matter how large I make each angle. I'm just going to go like this. And I'm going to label this one as angle 1. And this one is angle 2. And so now I'm going to fill in that information that I know about each of the angles. One angle measures 30 degrees more than twice the measure of the other angle. So we don't know the measure of the other angle. That's an unknown amount. So I'm going to put that, I'm going to represent that as with x, my unknown value. I'm not sure what that angle measures. However, we do know that the other angle is 30 degrees more than. So 30 degrees more than means that we should be adding 30 to something. 30 degrees more than twice the measure of the other angle. Twice the measure of this angle. So how could we represent that? Twice means that you multiply something by 2. So I'm going to take 2 times the measure of that angle. So as an expression, that becomes 2x plus 30. So I'm going to reread that again and make sure I'm correct. One angle measures 30 degrees more than, that's that right there, plus 30, twice the measure of the other angle. I don't know what that other angle measures, so that's represented with my variable of x. Twice that is 2x. So I have one angle with the expression of 2x plus 30, and the other angle, we don't know that measure either, so we're just going to use x. And I know that these have to have a sum of 180 degrees. So if I add these up, angle 1 plus angle 2, the sum is 180 degrees. Well, the measure of angle 1 is 2x plus 30. The measure of angle 2 is x. And I know if I combine both of those, the sum is 180. So now we're just going to solve that equation just like we have been, just like you were at the end of last week. I can combine like terms, so 2x plus x plus 1x is 3x plus 30 is equal to 180. I am going to now get rid of that plus 30. I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. And I have 3x is equal to 150. The inverse of multiplying x by 3 is to divide by 3. And I know that x is equal to 50. So if x is equal to 50 degrees, that means that angle 2 is equal to 50 degrees, because that angle measure is x. The measure of angle 1, well, I'm going to have to substitute in 50 for x. So 2 times 50 plus 30, 100 plus 30 is 130 degrees. So let's make sure that these two angles do in fact add up to 180. Is 130 plus 50 180? It is. So my measurements I know are correct. Lastly, I'm just going to write out the measure of angle 1 is equal to 130 degrees, and the measure of angle 2 is equal to 50 degrees. So I took the information from my word problem, and first I used that to make a visual representation. I drew those two angles and labeled each angle with the expression. And then I wrote an equation and solved it to find the measure of one angle and used that value to find the measure of this other angle. So that's an example of a supplementary angle. With our next video, we're going to look at an example of a complementary relationship.